up, guys? The phenomenal AJ Styles, and you're watching Bretto Live.
What is going on, guys? Bretto Live back with another video, and today, welcome to the Week in Review episode 88 setup video. Of course, this is where we go over Raw and SmackDown in a setup style. I have everything set up for Raw right here. Raw was a weak show, to be honest, in my opinion. But without further ado, we're going to get into it. The results, what I thought about them. So without further ado, let's do it. Moving over here is Elias and his musical performance, but who was on his right side? It was Jackson Ryker from the Forgotten Sons. I guess the Forgotten Sons are really forgotten now, because of course Wesley Blake and Steve Cutler are with King Corbin now, and I guess they just dispersed him over the roster. So now Jackson Ryker's with Elias, and basically R-Truth interrupted. 24/7 guys came out and they just got dominated by Jackson Ryker, showing how he's dominating. I guess he's the bodyguard of Elias, just like Wesley Blake and Steve Cutler are for King Corbin. Whatever. Moving over here, it was the Hurt Business. It was, or at least part of the Hurt Business, Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, and Cedric Alexander versus Jeff Hardy and the New Day. This was an okay match, some high-flying action, and not a match that really had me very intrigued. It was pretty boring, to be honest with you guys. In the end, Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, and Cedric Alexander picked up the victory by Bobby Lashley tapping out Jeff Hardy. So last week, I felt like they were giving Jeff Hardy a little push. I'm like, wow, he held his own against Bobby Lashley, but this week, it kind of dominated him, put the hurt lock on him, and then boom, tap out. Her Business win, which was pretty boring, to be honest. Moving over here, Ricochet versus, I think he went up against Mace, formerly Dio Madden, on commentary, and it was pretty cool. Mustafa Ali actually hinted at that. He's like, Samoa Joe, I think you're sitting in Mace's chair. I'm like, oh, pretty interesting. I'm surprised they're hinting at that. Yeah, as far as the match goes, Ricochet, Mace, garbage. In the end, Mace picked up the victory, and then after, Ali just came in the ring. We're not going to stop this until you join Retribution. Please, Ricochet, don't join Retribution. You're already at an all-time low in your career, and now that'll make it even worse, just saying. Moving over here, Bray Wyatt, he took a field trip to the WWE Thunderdome with some of his puppets. They were on ringside behind the barricade, of course, because they can't see the people that have the hands in the puppets, so they were behind the barricade. Yeah, Randy Orton popped up on the Titantron. He's like, Bray, you know what? Come find me. Let's play a game of hide and seek. And then Bray Wyatt, this was regular Bray Wyatt, not the Fiend. He's like, I accept. And then they were playing hide and seek backstage, similar to what they did to the build-up of their match, or like the build-up to like Randy joining the Wyatt family. If you guys remember, Bray Wyatt got trapped in a big container with a rocking chair like a couple years back. But yeah, pretty similar to that. But yeah, backstage, Bray Wyatt got locked in a big shipping container, and Randy Orton's like, you know what, I'm going to set it on fire. So he set it on fire, and Bray Wyatt was in there. And then the Fiend popped out and hooked the mandible claw and just started beating the living crap out of Randy Orton. Not beating him up, but just holding him down. So that was pretty cool. That was definitely my favorite part of the show, no doubt about it. And I am looking forward to the match at TLC. Moving over here, it was AJ Styles versus Sheamus. This was right after the night before TLC. I think the Miz called it was like a storyline, sort of like a Miz TV, but just, oh my gosh, it was like a fake Drew McIntyre dressed up as John Morrison. John Morrison dressed up as Drew McIntyre, and then AJ beating the crap out of him, kind of. And it ended with Sheamus interrupting, and then it turned into Sheamus versus AJ Styles, one-on-one match. And it was odd. The ending was very odd. In the corner, AJ Styles just kind of pinned Sheamus out of nowhere. I'm like, whoa. That was like a not half bad match, and then they just ended it like that. I'm like, wow, okay, I guess Sheamus lost. But then after the match, Sheamus, he stuck his hand, or no, AJ stuck his hand out and Sheamus grabbed it, but I wouldn't have done that because Sheamus got taken out by Omos and AJ Styles, and they set him up like this in the ropes, and AJ Styles just beat the crap out of him with a steel chair. I don't know, not bad, I guess. Right after the, or like a couple minutes after this match right here, we saw MVP versus Riddle, or Matt Riddle, whatever you guys want to call him. Very lame match. It was very quick as well. This was right before the main sort of contract signing. We'll get into it, but yeah, Matt Riddle just did a floating bro, and he took out MVP 1, 2, 3. Super easy. Super easy. Took out MVP like literally just like that. Now, if you guys saw it, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about, but otherwise I thought it was boring. Moving over here, it was Miz and Morrison versus Keith Lee in a 2-on-1 handicap match, and I thought handicap match rules, you have to tag in. But I guess not in this match. John Morrison and The Miz were in the entire time. I'm like, wait a minute, when are we going to get some authority here? But in the end, Keith Lee lost again. They're literally burying him. Like, what's going on here? But yeah, Miz and Morrison, they hopped on him both just like this, and the numbers caught up to Keith Lee, and he ended up losing the match. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, wow, Keith Lee lost again. This guy was so dominant down in NXT, and they're making him look like a fool here on Monday Night Raw. I can't believe it. But, yeah, he ended up losing the match to Miz and Morrison because, of course, it was a 2-on-1 handicap match. Moving over here, it was actually Nia Jax versus Lana, and Lana actually picked up the victory. It was an odd pin in the corner, and then she won the match on Nia Jax. I'm like, oh, my God. But then after that, oh, my goodness. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler beat the crap. I know I've said it a lot, but it is Monday Night Raw. They beat up Lana. And they literally had to have broken her arm. She's definitely dead. They sent her in an ambulance after this, exclusive to WWE's YouTube channel. But, yeah, they beat the crap out of her. And then Asuka came out to get some authority. But then later in the show, Mandy Rose... Well, first, it was Dana Brooke versus Shayna Baszler in a one-on-one match. And then Mandy Rose and Asuka, they were trying to get some authority because Shayna Baszler was about to beat the crap out of Dana Brooke even more. But Mandy Rose and Asuka ended up coming out to show that that's not going to happen. Of course, Mandy Rose has been out of action because of Shayna Baszler, and Asuka's just fed up with them treating Lana like garbage. By the way, brand new Lana variant. I found that in Walmart. Crazy. But yeah, otherwise I thought that was all pretty boring, not going to lie. Moving on, but the part that I did enjoy them beating the crap out of Lana. I don't know why, but I thought it was pretty entertaining. Moving over here, it was I forgot what they called it, but it was like sort of like a confrontation at the end of the show. Drew McIntyre, AJ Styles, of course, because they're going to be fighting at TLC in a TLC match. And it ended with an all-out battle, as you guys would assume. It's sort of like a contract signing, but not a contract signing. But yeah, it ended up in an all-out battle. AJ Styles dominated Drew. He dominated Drew. He climbed to the ladder, and I thought he was going to grab the title. But, well, he ended up getting the title. But, yeah, he jumped off the ladder and boom, right through Drew McIntyre with an elbow drop through a table. I'm like, wow, so that's some pretty cool build-up for TLC, and then he got the title and climbed up again and got it. So I'm like, dang, so AJ Styles is definitely not winning at TLC. Stay tuned for the predictions. Well, they might even be up already, so make sure to check them out. But yeah, otherwise, I thought it was an okay way to end the show. Not bad. But yeah, other than that, guys, just an okay Monday Night Raw. If I were to rate it, I'm going to give it a 6. Maybe even, yeah, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. I'm debating on giving it a 5, but the Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton thing was pretty entertaining. And yeah. So, really enjoyed that. Now we're going to get into SmackDown. Okay, guys, moving into SmackDown. It was a pretty boring show besides the Roman Reigns stuff. But, of course, we will get into that. So, without further ado, let's jump right into the show. Starting over here, Carmella, Sasha Banks, yet again with another promo here. Very similar to what happened last week. Carmella basically got the better of Sasha Banks. So, first Carmella come out. She's like, you know what, I'm going to have a toast. She had, like, her special assistant, and I forgot what they called him. But, yeah, she had her special assistant, brought out a bunch of champagne, and then basically that baited Sasha Banks in. But Sasha Banks tried to get the better of her, but in the end, Sasha Banks got another champagne bottle broke right over her back. So that almost fully seals that Sasha Banks is going to retain her title at TLC. But yeah, it was okay, I guess. It wasn't really that good. Moving over here, Shorty. No, it was actually Chad Gable. Chad Gable and Otis yet again here in a match on SmackDown. Of course, Chad Gable sort of like the coach here for Otis. It was Otis versus Shinsuke Nakamura in a one-on-one match, and I was actually looking forward to this. I'm like, oh, this shouldn't be that bad. And then in the end, very similar to what happened last week, Otis is like, okay, I'm going to hit the Caterpillar. And then Chad Gable hops right up the apron, and he's like, dude, suplex. So Otis hits the suplex. And then he hits like a cool like bonsai frog splash in the corner, and then he wins the match. So I'm like, wow, Chad Gable, not some bad advice. But then later backstage, he's like, dude, you weren't supposed to listen to me, remember? And then it was like super confusing instructions from Gable, but that's sort of like what the storyline's supposed to be showing. Moving over here, it was actually Bayley versus Bianca Belair, and of course, I'm like, you know what? Bianca Belair's definitely gonna win this, because after TLC, it's gonna be Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks. But then Bayley comes out with the victory. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I couldn't believe it. Once Bayley pinned her, I'm like, oh my gosh, no way. Yeah, Bayley won this match against Bianca Belair. It was an okay match building up to the end. But yeah, I was very shocked to see Bayley pick up the victory because I thought for sure, well, they still could build up Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks, but I thought for sure Bianca Belair was going to win that one, but Bayley ended up picking up the victory. And over here was the Street Profits versus Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Pretty interesting ending to this. Not Dolph Ziggler. Montez Ford actually went for the frog splash off the top rope. Dolph Ziggler sort of got his knees up. There was sort of like a confusion with the commentary team if he got his knees up or not, but it doesn't really matter. He's sort of like, yeah, he hit the frog splash, but in the end, Montez Ford had to resort to cheating. He grabbed the tights of Dolph Ziggler to win the match. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Montez Ford and the Street Profits just cheated to retain their titles. So I'm almost for sure that Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode are not done with this. They are definitely going to get another opportunity at the SmackDown Tag Titles because, yeah, that was pretty messed up. And really quick, before I forget, for a second week in a row, it was the Riot Squad versus Billy Kay and Tamina. I forgot to set it up. Sorry, guys. But yeah, I forgot to set them up last week as well. But yeah, in the end, Riot Squad ended up winning, even though Tamina had the victory in the bag. Billy Kay tagged herself in, basically, and then lost the match for the team. Very, very boring. Moving over here, it was actually the Sammy Awards. The Sammy Awards, yes. Sami Zayn, of course, coming out. And you know, it's called the Sammy Awards, so he's going to give all the awards to him. Superstar of the Year, Match of the Year, and then, oh no, yeah, Return of the Year, Match of the Year, but Superstar of the Year, Big E actually changed the cards that Sami Zayn was given and wrote his name on it. So Sami Zayn friggin' said his name out of confusion. He's like, Big E. And then Big E came out and he claimed his prize and he kept on pushing Sami Zayn around. He threw him all the way down the entrance ramp and he slid all the way down the entrance ramp. I'm like, oh my gosh, he just launched him. That wasn't half bad. Moving over here, basically the entire during the show, it was Roman Reigns and Jey Uso just wanting to take out Kevin Owens because his resiliency is so insane. Kevin Owens just never stayed down this entire night. Jey Uso kept on bouncing back trying to take out Kevin Owens backstage while he was in the medical room and everything with a steel chair. He took him out backstage, back and forth every single time. But then, all the way leading up to the end of the show, Roman Reigns and Jey Uso were coming out, but then KO's like, you know what, I'm going to pop in. He comes out, but it doesn't really work out for the best of him. He gets destroyed in the center of the ring, gets put through plenty of tables, hit with steel chairs, steel ladders, but then in the end, Roman Reigns and Jey Uso start burying Kevin Owens in the center of the ring with tables, ladders, and chairs. So that was pretty cool. But then Roman Reigns and Jey, they're like, you know what, we're done. We're just gonna walk in the back. We're done. You know, we beat him up. We're done. We'll see you at TLC. But then Kevin Owens gets out of the rubble and he says, if I don't beat Roman Reigns this Sunday at TLC, if I lose, I know I would have died trying. So that's pretty interesting. So Kevin Owens, I still don't think he's going to win. Yeah, he cannot win at TLC. That's like a fact. I guarantee it. I would be very much shocked if he did win. But yeah, Kevin Owens making a statement saying that he is not afraid, he has resiliency, and he could bounce back super, super easily. But yes, guys, that was SmackDown and Raw in a nutshell here on the Weekend Review setup. Really being enjoyed. Let me know what you guys thought about the shows down in the comments down below. And if I were to rate SmackDown this week, I'm going to give SmackDown a solid 7 out of 10. The Roman Reigns stuff definitely saved this show by a long shot. But yeah, guys, really being enjoyed this video. Bretto Live out.
Invincible.